Yes.
What are your thoughts on Justin Jones' availability?
Trending positive for the game. He was out there at practice, and I think he's going to be fine for the game.
And then with Mike and Keenan and Chris and Scott, I guess. Sure.
Yeah, I think Keenan and Scott will be out for the game, and Mike and Chris have continued to test negative, and so as long as tomorrow goes okay, they should be good for the game.
Brandon, staying in the playoff picture is always a challenge, and the Giants are a team that can, be in the way. There's something about their defense you have to remember not to overlook or take for granted.
Their defense is outstanding. I really have a ton of respect for their defensive coordinator, Patrick Graham. I really think he's one of the top coordinators in football. I think that he'll be a head coach in the league. I don't know him personally, but I got a lot of respect for his game, and I think he's been around a lot of good ball, and I think his team in 2 years has done a really good job and given them a lot of opportunities in the last 2 years. We played them last year when I was with the Rams. It was 17-9, a really, really tough game. I mean, we scored in the end to win that game, but it was a really tight game, and they've got a lot of really good personnel on defense. I mean, up front, Dexter Lawrence, Leonard Williams, those two guys are really, really good players. And on the edge, Lorenzo Carter, Jimenez, the guy from Old Dominion, I did a lot of work on him. They drafted the kid from Georgia, Aziz, who's playing fantastic. In the second level, Reggie Ragland, Tate Crowder, those guys are a good linebacking tandem. And then in the secondary, they've got a lot of pieces there to play winning defense. Bradbury's been a good player for a long time. He's got really good ball skills. He's a good tackler. Logan Ryan's been a champion. Xavier McKinney, the young safety, we did a lot of work on him when I was with the Rams. He's playing really, really good football, and they have a quality group back there. Adoree Jackson is there, who's played a lot of winning football. So, and they're extremely well coached. They've had a really good red zone defense since Patrick's been there, and they're very good against the run. And then when you see them play the premium offenses in the league that they've played, whether it's Tampa or Kansas City, they've given those guys all they could handle. And then what they did a couple weeks ago that caught my attention was the way they played Philadelphia. Philadelphia had been running the ball, quarterback run game, Hurts, all that, and they completely shut that thing down, had a bunch of takeaways, and they're playing really, really quality football on that side of the football, and they have our full attention. I just think they have really good personnel, and I think that they do a really good job coaching.
Is Linval going to be a full go on Sunday?
Linval's trending very positive. He was out there today at practice and feeling good, and as long as nothing happens between now and game time, he should be good to go.
And just to make sure, he's on the active roster or still in the exempt list for Linval?
I don't know that, but he should be good to go for the game. Yeah.
Any sort of snap count for him? I know you guys were talking about easing him back in. And
Yeah.
game shape and all that.
Yeah, good question. If he's going to be at the game, he's going to be playing the way Linval can play. So that's what we really wanted to make sure, is that when he's out there, he can give us his best. So he's had a good week of practice.
And just with Scott out, as far as backup center, what would be the plan there? Would you call up Ryan for the game? Or?
We're still working through that right now, and there'll be some decisions here in the next 48 hours before game day and making that call.
Coach David, what would you say the team's identity is right now? I know it's close to the end of the season, but what would you say your identity is right now?
Yeah, I think that we're a team that can beat you in all three phases. I think we're a team that can play our best at the end of the game. We've been in a lot of close games. I think that we have that type of team that can play its best in the fourth quarter and when it's winning time against quality competition. I think our identity is we've been battle tested. Like when I think of our team, I think that we're battle tested. I think that we've been in a lot of premium games against premium teams that are all in it. And so I think that we have a really good formula for how we want to play the game. And we've played in a lot of different types of games, high scoring, low scoring, type of games. And so I just feel like we have a complete team, a team that can, sort of play any type of game that needs to be played. And that's what our goal is to be able to play in any type of football game and be able to win it. And so I think that our best football is ahead of us. I really do. I don't think that we've had that statement game or that signature game where, hey, all three phases have just crushed it together. But I think we're working that way. I think that all three phases of our team have made a lot of progress throughout the season. And I think that at the same time, there's that extra gear that I think that we can get to in all three phases as a team, and that's what we're shooting for. And I think that that's what's exciting about our team right now. And we've continued to put in really good weeks of preparation, and that's how we're going to end up playing our best at the end.
When you go for it on fourth down, does that help set the identity or establish the identity of the team?
Yeah, I mean, we're definitely going to play the game on our terms as much as we can. And I think that those fourth down decisions, we've got aggressive modeling. And I think that, that mindset is something that I think our players have really bought into and our coaches have bought into. And I think that we know going into those type of gotta-have-it moments that, that's going to be a part of how we do things. And we're going to be able to respond either way, whether it goes down or it doesn't. But that we're going to force teams to play us, and I think that that's definitely the mindset that we want to have.
A couple of guys have brought up that you mentioned to the team at a team meeting this week, just how you haven't won consecutive games since weeks 4 and 5. What point were you trying to get across to the team by mentioning that to them and sort of like trying to find more consistency and string wins together?
Yeah, because I've really talked to them about it. I've loved the consistency of our preparation, and I think that has been evident to me and to all of us is that our intensity and focus and preparation has been consistent. Now, our performance on game day and some of the results have been, that way. And I think those two things are different. And I think that, at the game, since the bye, the reality is that we haven't won 2 in a row. And establishing that mindset of doing what it takes at the game in order to make sure that happens. Because at the end of the season, that's how you end up making a run, is you got to win games in a row. You can't just go back and forth. And so that's just been our mindset is when we get to the game, I love the way we've prepared, but then that mindset at the game of being able to do what it takes within the game to play that game the way it needs to be played, and that the little things are what have made the big difference in the second half of the season. When we've performed well, we've taken care a lot of those little things in the games that haven't gone our way. The little things have gotten away from us, and putting our emphasis and our focus there and really doing it together as a team. Because I think what's also been evident is that in our losses, it hasn't just been one phase or the other. It's been all three phases, where those little things haven't gone right. So that's where our focus has been and where it's going to continue to be.
Brandon, for the defense, it came together last week, and you mentioned how young they are, and you kind of went through some ups and downs, but during those kind of periods of the up and down, did that really test your patience, and it was pretty nice to see the results last week?
Yeah, it's been a discovery process since the beginning of the year, and I think we've endured a lot of the attrition in the NFL with lineup changes, and I think from a style of play standpoint, as I've told you guys since like the springtime, is you can't just say like, hey, this is our way of playing. You have to say, okay, this is the way we need to play based on who we have. And I feel like we've worked really hard to figure all that out and define roles and get our guys doing the right jobs and getting them into a comfort zone. And I think that's been a fight to do that. But I've seen the improvements really since the bye week. I just think that we've made a lot of improvements as a defense, and I think that's evident in how we're playing. And I thought that last week was a good example of that. I really thought against Pittsburgh we played a really good game, and that score the score isn't indicative of how that game went defensively for us, and that's been how it's been a little bit during the season. But I feel like we've made huge improvements as a unit. And I know that our guys have a lot of confidence in one another and how we're playing. And that's what you're hoping for is that, hey, at the end of this season, your guys feel that way. And then we still have that another gear that I know that we can get to. And hopefully we can continue to work towards that.
What's it been like playing in the AFC this year? The margin for error is so, when you beat the Patriots, you're like the 1 or 2 seed right now. You lose to the Bengals, you're technically out of the playoffs. To have the division and the conference be so close, what's that been like for you and the guys in terms of just that extra focus, knowing everything's still in front of you?
Yeah, man, I think the perspective of the league when you look in front of you and behind you in the standings is that you do know that one game can make a huge difference. And I think that there is that sense of urgency and that sense of purpose, really, that you have, knowing that there's so much at stake each and every week. But I think what our mindset has got to be around here, and where we need to go as a team and as an organization, is that no matter if the standings were tight or not, like let's just say it wasn't that way, is that each week has a life of its own, and our intensity is going to be there regardless of if it's tight or not. And that's what we're trying to create here, is that consistency and performance, that regardless of who we're playing, regardless of where anyone is in the standings, that there's a lot at stake every game. And that how we play is what matters. And so the fact that we're in the hunt right now, I'm excited about that. And then hopefully our preparation and performance will be reflective of that. And taking care of the little things this time of year is indicative of where you're at as a team, and I'm excited to prove ourselves against a good team this week, because New York is a really good team, and they have our full respect.
With no Keenan, is it Jalen starting on Sunday?
It'll be, depending on the receiver groupings, Josh and Jalen will share that mantle with Mike, and depending on if there's 2 or 3 receivers, and depending on what type of 2 receiver grouping it is, but those 2 guys will be the starters with Mike.